It has begun. The 2025 growing season is underway. So before I head down the plot, I just want to share how the seeds that were planted 2 weeks ago are getting on. Starting off with the geraniums, planted 4 of these, and they've actually done really well. These were the first to germinate, and you can just see they're beginning to get their first set of true leaves coming through, which I was quite surprised with. They've come through quicker than normal, so I was really pleased with them. The chilies, these have also done really well, 4 of these altogether. These are looking really good and healthy. They germinated probably just under a week ago. With the chilies, I'm going to be planting some more of these because I don't think 4 is going to be enough. So I'm going to sow another probably 2, maybe 3 pots worth of them. And then the aubergines. I've never grown these before and I was really pleased to see them germinated. They took a long time to germinate. These have only just come up in the last couple of days. But we've got a total of 5 here, 2 in that pot and another one just coming through the soil there. So I'm looking forward to seeing how these develop over the next couple of weeks. Leeks and onions. These again have both done quite well. Problem is I can't remember which is which. I kept saying last year, remember to label the seeds, and I didn't do it. I think these are the onions and I think these are the leeks. I think you're supposed to tell from the smell. I can't tell. So I'm going to say they're the onions, they're the leeks, but they're doing good. And then also the Arctic lettuce, this has done really well. So again, I'm going to divide this up. I might put it into little clumps in individual pots for it to grow on. But again, it probably needs to go outside because it's otherwise going to begin to get a bit leggy indoors. I also find it fascinating how all the warm weather seeds, so like the chilies and the aubergine, all have these very similar shape. So you get like a spiky, longer leaf, whereas the colder weather ones have a more rounded leaf. So there is one more seed I want to plant this January, plus there's a little experiment that I want to try and do. But before I do that, I'm going to head down the plot and see how things are going. Last weekend it was really frosty on the plot, so I'm hoping this weekend it will be a little bit warmer and I'll be able to get a few jobs done. It's certainly a lot warmer today than it was last weekend. This little fox here has chosen to make his bed on the netting on my plot neighbour's raised bed. It's made itself a nice little hammock. Oh, there's 2 down there. Those foxes are watching me like a hawk. I wonder if they find me as fascinating as I find them. Anyway, while I'm here, I thought I'd give a really quick plot tour. What's growing this January? Well, not much is growing this January, but give you a quick idea of what's going on in the raised beds. Bed number 1 here, I've got my chard and my spinach. I'm going to take some of this back with me, but I also need to cut some of this away because it's getting a bit rotten now. And I'm worried it's going to start to attract a lot of slugs, so that's going to be cut back a little bit. Bed number 2, where I'm growing broccoli. Unfortunately, most of it has been eaten by slugs. There's one piece there that has lots of little slug bites in it, and then the rest seems to have disappeared. There might be one more piece there, so that's a little bit disappointing. Bed number 3, I've got onions and garlic grown in here. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows. Front 2 rows, if I remember correctly, were garlic, and then the others are onions. They seem to be doing okay, so hopefully come the spring, summertime, they will be ready to harvest. Bed number 4 is my rhubarb. If you remember back in the summer, I planted this from seed, and it was doing really well, but in the winter it's died right back, which you've all assured me is what it should be doing. But this is my favourite thing to grow, so I'm really looking forward to having fresh rhubarb again in the spring, summertime, so fingers crossed that one grows well. And then bed number 5, this one is a much longer bed. This is where I tried my field bean experiment. Unfortunately, nothing's grown. There is this slightly odd looking thing here, which could be a field bean, but that was really disappointing. So this I'm just going to make sure I keep it weeded, and then in the summer I'm hoping to grow, well, spring, summer, corn or sunflowers. I think they'll grow well in that block area, and this gets quite a lot of sun, so hopefully they will enjoy that. And then I've got these two slightly smaller beds. This one has got strawberries that grew here originally. I moved them, they were all growing within those bushes, so I've moved them all out, put them into a bed. And this little bed I made, and I'm going to use this today. Oh, and if you're wondering, did the field beans do anything? No, they've been dug up by something. I think probably a mouse, maybe a rat. So I'm actually going to take these home, plant them again, keep them covered up until they develop, because down here everything's just getting eaten. So today's big question is it too late to plant spring bulbs? I brought these back in November, I think it was, with all the best intentions of planting them, and then never got around to it. And they've just sat in the shed. They still look in reasonable condition, but I don't know if it's too late or not, so we're going to give it an experiment. Going to put them in this little bed, cover them up, and see what happens in the spring. So I did do a quick Google search. I'm not sure whether you can trust Google or not, but it did say that you can still plant spring bulbs in January. They just might develop a little bit later. And then I've also got a few tulips here as well. These feel a little bit rotten. They've gone a bit soft. The problem is I know what will happen is the squirrels are going to dig all these up and eat them. So I might need to put a cover over there. Mr. Fox is now fast asleep, ignoring me. I was scrolling through TikTok last night and I came across a video where a gentleman was growing ginger from supermarket ginger. And it made me wonder if that was really possible. So I went to the supermarket this morning. I've got these 3 bits of ginger. Unfortunately, they don't look in particularly good condition. They weren't organic or anything. They were just your standard ginger. So I'm not sure if these are going to do much, but I'm going to try and put them in a pot and see what happens, because it'd be quite good to grow some ginger, I guess. It's a little experiment to try out. I can't remember if you're supposed to bury it completely or leave it sort of half in the soil. Maybe we'll try a bit of both. I don't know, is ginger the root or is ginger part of the stem? This one looks most likely because it's still got the little nodules on it. So we'll pop that in there. That one can go a little bit above the ground. That piece I might keep. And yeah, let's see if that does anything. If you've been able to grow ginger from supermarket or store-bought ginger, let me know in the comments. I'd love to know if this is going to work or not. There is one more seed and one more experiment I want to try this January. So for those, I am going to head back home. It was cold out there. It's good to be back in the warm. So what is this last seed I'm going to grow? Well, I want to try and grow a melon. Now that may surprise you, but you can actually get melon seeds, which according to this grow quite well here in the UK. So it says to plant between January and February. So I've got some pots. Just going to sow one seed on its side into each pot. Make sure they're well watered, and then these will be joining the other seeds on the heat mat under cover. And I'm looking forward to seeing if you actually get any melons off of these. I'm not sure you will, but it'll be fascinating to see if it works. So the last little experiment I want to try is with shop-bought chilies. So I've got this little container which has got 2 compartments, and then I want to see if you can actually grow the chilies, the seeds directly from here. There's a lot of seeds in that one. So in one of these compartments, I'm going to add the store chilies. Get as many of those in there as I possibly can. Good. Oh, one's cross-contaminated. Get that one back. And then in this other side, I'm going to grow the same seeds I had before. And add these in here, and the idea is to find out, well, one, if the supermarket ones will germinate, and two, do they end up producing just as many chilies or just as good quality chili plants as these ones. Is that about an even number? Let's put one more in there. Remember to label them so I don't forget which is which. And if you want to see what happens and find out how the progress goes, then don't forget to drop a follow and like. Thank you so much for watching today, and I'll catch you again next week. Take care.